The hunt for a vodka continues. The staircase that our buddy, I think his name was Leod, where is he, by the way? He should still be with us. There he is. He came up last. The staircase he led us to took us up about... What is this? Took us up 5 levels. That's not terrible. Actually, that's pretty darn close. If I remember correctly, I think it was 7 levels we needed to ascend. So, we've got 2 more levels. So will we be able to find a vodka? So there's a couple things I'm going to be doing in this video to try and speed things up. If we hit a long stretch where we're not really generating much of anything, I'm going to cut and I will come back and show you what we've generated. And our goal today is to see if we can focus on more interesting things and kind of speed up the process while still moving towards the goal that we've decided that we're going to pursue. So here we have our 40 party members and that guy, and we're going to continue where we left off. This is a room I generated, so 5 levels up we find ourselves in a 30 by 30 room facing yet another claustrophobic hallway. Okay, so here we are again. I actually moved the room over. I had it originally drawn right here, but I figured we need some more space. So I randomly generated this room. We have a door leading to the east. We don't quite know what's through it. Just to recap, the resources we're using are as follows. We're using both Table Fables books. This has really good stuff to generate NPCs. This is also what we're going to be using to generate hallways and rooms. This has a lot of different stuff from like building names and like other things like that. So these are really good generation tools. Furthermore, we're using the AD&D First Edition Dungeon Master's Guide. In specific, we are using page 191's city and town encounters. We can roll to see what time of day it is, and that will affect the sorts of things that we find. And finally, also, of course, we're going to be using Labyrinth Lord rules. In particular, we're going to be using kind of encounter behaviors. And I think I've marked what page that's on. Oh, that's the loot from Phaon. I think this other bookmark back here. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. That's right. We're going to be using the monster reaction tables right there. And that's going to help us decide how certain NPCs that we encounter will react to us. And I guess I don't need that anymore. We are also going to be using, near the back of here, once again, we're going to be using the random tavern patrons generator to help us generate some NPCs. And just in case we need it, we actually have a new book. We're going to be using the classic dungeon design to help us with there was like a benefactor place back here. There's also like scenario twists, things like that. That's really nice. Adventure scenarios. This is just a lot of really good extra stuff we're going to be using to help us along. So the deck is still here. That's exactly where we left it. We have our oracles, and we have our fate chart over here. So, first and foremost, we should check out and see what's beyond that door right in front of our guys here. So let's see, that's a D10. I gotta get back on the ball. Let's see what happens here. That's an 8. So this is a hallway. So since we're changing scenes before I generate this hallway, let's go ahead and flip this card over. Okay, so nothing crazy going on there. Oh, I should probably also roll for day or night. So if the blue one is higher, it's night. If the red one's higher, then it's day. The red one is higher, so it is daytime. So we're going to be using the daytime encounter chart. Again, so we're going to be keeping track of when we're going to roll some encounters. Once everybody has gone, then we're going to roll and see if there is a random encounter. And if we go like 3 rooms without anything happening, I'll cut, and I will bring us back when something does happen. So for now, let's get the dimensions of this hallway. So again, it's kind of weird because we're using a system where a square is 10 feet instead of 5 feet, and the book we're using here is designed for 5-foot squares. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to rectify that, but I think the way we did it last time was it was pretty good, and it really translates well to the sort of cramped atmosphere we're looking at. So we've just rolled a 5 for the hall width. So that is 15 feet. So there's another wonky number. So we kind of decided to go like halves. So every 5 is like a half. So if we're doing 15 feet, that's going to be about there. So it's like a square and a half. And then we can roll for length. Hopefully it's not one of these ridiculous short hallways, but let's see. So this is on a D12. Here we go again. That's a 1. Well, we're going to have to re-roll that. Otherwise, our big guy's not going to be able to fit through. Now, normally, going forward, I'm not going to re-roll stuff like that. If it's bad, it's bad, and we're going to have to backtrack. 7. That's better. Only slightly, though. It's another one of these short little hallways. Another 30-foot hallway. Going to about there. And yet again, I've forgotten to roll doors to see how many doors are in here. Okay, so 1d10. Of course, we're going to be re-rolling 1s because, of course, there are doors here. That's an 8. So that means there's D4 doors in here. So I might have to redraw some of this. Okay, so there are 2 doors. And I can even roll to see where they're at. And I'm going to re-roll if they're where we already are. So the door location, D4. Okay, so there actually is one in the south here. So I'll draw that in. There's a south door. That's wonky, but it'll work. And then a 2, and that's the east wall. So there's one there, and there's one there. Okay. So now we're going to go into character turns, and we're going to see what happens. Let's start at the front. Let's have Galabraid move up, and he's going to look in here. And you know what? Actually, I'm going to have everybody move up, and when we've generated new doors, I'll come back. And I really got to do something about these funky hallways like this. Maybe I'll make it sort of like a minimum of 1 square, because like sometimes like those will pop up quite a bit. We ended up coming to this unique room here. It's got 3 doors leading out, and everybody's actually moved or investigated something. So we're now going to roll on a D6. And if we roll a 1, that means there is some kind of encounter. That's a 3. We're good. So, that being the case, now I wonder, like, I seem to have a lot of redundant systems. Like if I were to walk in here, I could roll in the oracles down here and say like, is there anything worthwhile in this room? And if the answer is yeah, then I roll a twist. So I'm not sure where the line should be between rolling for random encounters in Labyrinth Lord or using the oracles. So for now, I think what I'm going to do is use the oracles because it'll make for a lot more interesting of a video. But first and foremost, let's flip this card here. Okay, so she doesn't act against us. Evodkia, I remember her name now. So, is there anything specific about this room that would make it special? Like, is there anything in here that would demand our attention? That's a 3, complication. More difficult to understand oracle rolls. So that's a 3 and a 1. An organization appears. Okay. I'm going to be doing some rolling in another book, and I'm going to be right back. I need to decide who these people are. Something I really need to remind myself is that this is a game, and if I'm not having fun, I shouldn't be playing. Sometimes when you're doing solo role play, something that I have been warned about and something that I've run into is getting stuck. So when you get stuck, you kind of just have to go with your gut. You need to make a decision and you need to move forward. So the decision I have made is that I'm going to leave. I'm going to ask a couple of questions to the oracles and to the word salad chart, the event meaning and subject, or the action and subject tables. And we're going to move forward from there, regardless of what the deck over there says. The deck would suggest that what's happening is not a result of Evidkia. However, we have been asking around, and what we're going to do is we're going to ask the oracles if this has anything to do with Evidkia. So are these her guys? 5. Yes, these are her guys. So that being the case, I'm going to reshuffle that deck in a minute here. So it says that an organization appears. So if they're from her, we can safely assume that they are hostile. But we'll ask anyway. So it's possible that Evidkia might see our pluck in standing up to her and might have different things in mind for us rather than killing us. So are they here to hurt us? Yes, they're here to hurt us. Evidkia does want us dead or out of the way. So now what we're going to do is we're going to determine what this organization is by rolling on the action and subject chart. And based on what we get, we're going to make an assumption as to who these guys are. So that's an 81 to start with. So that's an excitement. 57. Excitement tactics. These are so there's a couple ways this could go. I'm a big fan of the Ravnica setting for Magic the Gathering, and I immediately think of the Rakdos cult. So these are like crazy circus performers that worship a demon god called Rakdos, the Rakdos Lord of Riots, I think. And that's a bad dude. And the other idea that I get from that role is that these guys are agitators. So what we're going to do is we're going to decide if these are evil cultists or agitators. In fact, I'm not going to leave this up to a roll on the chart. What I like more is I like the idea of these Rakdos type guys coming in and attacking us. That adds a lot of interesting flavor to the world. So let me go grab some miniatures for these guys really quick, and let's see how my decision plays out. As Sig enters the strange room, slinking out of the darkness comes these 4 guys who are clad in strange-looking robes and carrying crude, barbaric-looking weapons. These are cultists, and we don't know exactly what sort of cultists they are, but we're using the Berserker stat block. I rolled a d6 for number encountered, and we rolled 4. And they just came slinking out of these doorways here, weapons in hand, and behind their face covering cowls, you can see their eyes kind of gleaming with insane light. And there's no need to roll reaction. We already know they want to kill us. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to combat, and we are going to start rolling some initiative, and let's see if we can fight some cultists. Pretty tight quarters. Sig is really going to have to push into that room. Let me just get our character sheets ready so I have an idea of what we can do. You forget sometimes what your characters can do, especially if you're running multiple of these guys. There's a lot of quote-unquote role play involved. Sometimes you forget, oh yeah, they can fight. So let's do some initiative here. As usual, red is good guys. All right, we are going first. So, and again, I forgot to announce what we're doing. So, what we're going to be doing is, Fayed here, or Fayan, he's going to be hiding. He doesn't want to get involved in any of this. Sig is going to charge into this room, and he's going to try and make room for his friends to get in. So, let's see, where's my thing here? It shows a specific order of combat. Forgot to roll surprise. You know what? Before I do any more combat, let's roll to see if we're surprised. Red is good guys. Blue is bad guys. They may not have even expected to be seeing us here. A roll of 1 or a 2 means they lose a round. Nobody's surprised. So we're going to go with initiative as it was before. I'll remember next time, I promise. So the first thing that happens is that movement's going to happen. So Sig is going to move in this way. And you know what? Let's do sort of a... This is a technique I wanted to show for a little while. When I want to do opposed checks, like in this case, we're going to be doing opposed strength with this cultist against Sig. Before I do that, I would like to generate a strength score for them using 3d6. And then what happens is they're both going to sort of... he's going to try and roll to overcome that, I think. Okay, so 11. So he's going to try and roll above an 11, and his strength is a 15. So I'm not sure. There's 2 ways to take that. You can either roll below their ability score, but in this case, I'm going to try and roll above his. Sig actually has a +1 from his strength down here, so we'll go ahead and add that to the die. We'll just have another way to use that. And he rolls a 12. Okay, so he's able to push him back like, how many squares? 1 square. So he'll push him back like, into the wall like that, and he goes charging in. This is going to, in turn, give room for Galabrade to come in and engage this guy here. Veronique is going to take she's going to take a strategic position there, and she's wielding her crossbow. And Lorque is going to cautiously come in behind her. I don't really want to involve my spellcaster in melee combat. But, okay, so the first thing that goes off is missiles. So she's moving up, and she's going to shoot a missile at this guy here. She's got a clear shot at him without risking hitting either Galabrade or Sig. So she'll go ahead and do her attack roll there. The armor class on a Berserker is 7. So that means she's going to be hitting on a 13 or higher. And that's a 10. So nope, that goes sailing over that guy's shoulder and pink off the wall. The next thing that happens is magic. Lorque isn't casting any spells right now. And melee... Now, Sig and Galabrade are going to do some melee here. So let's roll for Sig first, who's using his Warhammer against this guy here. and that is not high enough. So we'll go to Galabrade over here with his bastard sword. Man, you guys aren't hitting anything today. I rolled an 8 for Sig and a 5 for Galabrade. I forgot that was zoomed in like that. We'll zoom you out like that so you know I'm not cheating or anything. Okay, so that being over, it's now their turn, and their intent is just to move up and attack us wherever possible. So these two are going to be taking on Galabrade here, and these two are going to be taking on Sig right here. And these guys are single hit dice creatures, which means they have a Thaco of 20. And in order to hit Sig, whose armor class is 3, they're going to have to roll an 18. So two of these guys are attacking Sig. Where's my other d20? There we go. Okay, neither of those is an 18. That is an 11 and a 14. So neither of those. Okay, so these two are going to attack Galabrade, whose armor class is 15. They have to roll a 15 or higher. That one got a 15. So this guy, what weapons do these guys have? A D6 or by weapon type. So we're just going to use D6 because I haven't statted these guys out beforehand. So D6 damage to Galabrade. 6. Man, this is going to be ongoing. I think we're going to lose Galabrade. He's locked in combat, and there's not a whole lot to help. And Lorkay has the wrong spell prepared. Since Galabrade is undead, it's possible that Lorkay would be able to cast Cause Light Wounds, and since those are kind of reversed for undead and living creatures that would heal him, but he has Summon Skeletons prepared. So, bad stuff for poor Galabrade. He goes from 8 HP to 2 HP. That's not looking good. So now, we're going to re-roll our initiative. Please. As usual, good guys are red. Oh, no! Okay, well, our announced things, our announced actions is Galabrade. He's really got nowhere to go, because Veronique is taking up the hallway there. He can't really squeeze behind Sig. He's got to take it. He's going to keep attacking. Sig is going to continue to attack in melee. Veronique's intent is to move into the corner of the room to engage in melee. And seeing the trouble, Galabrade is going to start intoning his spell. So we're going to... Not Galabrade, I did it again. Lorkay is going to begin summoning skeletons. So we'll get there when we get there. But first, these cultists are they're gonna have some fun first. So, just like before, we're going to start trying to attack Sig. These guys have to roll an 18 or higher. No, none of that. And these two got to roll a 15 or higher to hit Galabrade. Okay, that is a 12 and a 2. Thank goodness we did not lose Galabrade. They're staying where they're at. So there were no missiles or magic or anything like that. So moving to ours. Movement first. Veronique is moving. She's going to move up here. She has dropped her crossbow on its sling, so it's hanging by her side, and drawn her short sword. She has a short sword, right? Yes. No, she's wielding she's got a bastard sword. Never mind. She's going to be using it two-handed so that she can get that sweet 2d4 damage. But it's not time for that yet, so there's no missiles. It's time for magic to go off. So let's take a look at Lorkay's Summon Skeleton spell. I know it's reasonably good. I think last time we have done this once before, but I can't really remember. Summon skeletons. 3d4 skeletons that burst out of the ground in 1d4 rounds. And it's within 30 feet. So I think Galabrade is just going to... Not Galabrade. Lorkay's going to drop that spell right in the middle. So these skeletons are going to come out. So we've got 3d4 skeletons. They're going to be popping out of the ground. So let's see how many are going to come out. Wow, that is 11 skeletons, but in one round. That's a lot better than the 4 rounds we had to wait last time. So that spell is active, and that's Lorca sort of doing the gestures and saying the fell incantation. So now it's time for melee. Galabrade back here is going to be fighting for his life. He's going to attack the guy with the mace directly in front of him. And he's got to roll, I think it was a 13, because these guys have... Yeah, they have an armor class of 7. Oh, no. Bad luck. Poor Galabrade. Berserkers, man. This cult is really kind of messing us up. Okay, Sig is going to attack one of these guys. This one here, kind of closer to Veronique. He rolled a 10. That's not a 13. And now Veronique is attacking this one, who's attacking Galabrade there. Let's see what happens. She rolled... Oh, that was teetering between a 20 and a 2, and she opted for the 2. Veronique. Okay, so what we're looking at here is this combat is just not going the way either side had imagined. They ran into the room and immediately just locked weapons, and there's just not a whole lot getting done. It's a struggle. And Lorca is almost done with his spell. He's got one more round, so let's roll our initiative. Well, okay, so our intent... Galabrade intends to move back. I don't know if he can slip past Veronique here. I'm not sure what the rules are there. I'll leave it up to the oracles in a sec here, and we'll see what they say, if yes he can or no he can't. And if it's a no and, that means that's... I'm going to say that means these guys get a parting shot, because that makes sense. Veronique intends to just fight as hard as she can to protect Galabrade over there. Sig likes to smash things, so he's going to be doing the exact same thing. Seeing that they need some help, Lorca, after finishing his spell, is going to draw his ritual knife and start wading into combat. That's a bad idea, Lorca, but you know. So the enemies intend to do exactly what they have been doing: close to melee range if they have to, and keep fighting. So we've got... Oh no, they're going first. Oh no. Okay, let's start with the 2 attacking Sig, and then we'll see if Galabrade bites the dust. So Sig does not get hit because his AC is ridiculous. And Galabrade does not get hit. We're good. So he's... Oh, that's so nice. So these cultists they seem to be just as ineffectual as we are. So now let's move and let's see, it's to ours now. And the first thing that happens is movement. So let's see if Galabrade can move behind Veronique. 4, yes, but what's the yes but? Let's just interpret it. Let's see what happens. The twist is... A physical event appears. I think he accidentally shoved Veronique. Did he accidentally shove Veronique? Yes, and. So yes, and is usually a positive thing. I'm going to say, having done so, that's going to kind of move her into a more advantageous position. So actually, I think they swap like that. So having done that, Galabrade completes his movement backwards. And we'll do the same thing with Lorca. We'll see if Lorca can move past Galabrade. Can he get past? No, absolutely not. And he just bumped him back into the room trying to get forward. Too much armor. This is a bad day, you guys. So now... Veronique is going to take her big old sword and shove it right in that guy's face. No, magic. Magic goes off first. We have 11 skeletons to spawn. Oh boy. You know, I'm going to cut right here. I'll be right back, and I'm going to set up all these skeletons. Well, there certainly are skeletons, all right. 11 of them, and there were so many that they actually kind of overflowed out of the room. I had to generate hallways and rooms and stuff. So, I think it's safe to say that these guys should probably make some kind of morale check. Although it says for berserkers, morale is not available. So these guys fight to the death, which is a shame. I think we need to. I think we need to capture one of these guys. What's it say about that? Oh, something I did not see. They actually get a +2. Excuse me, I got stuff in my throat. They have a +2 to their attack value, and they never retreat. So the spell went off. There's a bunch of skeletons now, and so let's see. So where's my combat card? Still getting used to this type of thing. And then melee happens after magic. So here we go. Let's start off with Sig. Sig is going to attack the cultists that are directly in front of him, because that's what Sig does. And he's just going to roll a 13. He rolled a 15. He hit something. Oh, my word. Thank goodness. So that's his Warhammer. That's a d6. +1 on damage. That is 5 damage. And these guys each have... I forgot to do their hit die. So they have 1 hit die +1. So that's a d8 +1. They have 4 hit points. He just killed this guy outright. Ugh. Like that. So next up, Galabrade is still in reach of this guy here. He just got pushed back in the room by Lorque stumbling forward with his knife. So he may as well have an attack. So I wouldn't roll all these guys' combat if I knew they'd give up, but apparently berserkers don't give up. So I'll go another round, and if we don't kill them with all these attacks, then I'm going to cut, and I'll show you how combat ends. So Galabrade gets a 16. He actually hits, and if I recall correctly, he hits pretty hard. Yeah, he's using a bastard sword. That's 2d4 damage to that guy. And that's 6. That's 2 3s. That's another guy down. This turned around quick, didn't it? Okay, Veronique using her sword against that one. That's... Never change, Veronique. Never change. Okay, so now we have skeletons attacking. So this guy is going to attack this dude. Now, I believe skeletons do d6. Let me just check really fast. Since we're summoning monsters, I kind of have to keep track of that. That's the one problem with playing necromancers. I adore necromancers. But the trouble is, they, d6 are by weapon. And they have a single hit die, so the fate goes 20. The trouble with necromancers is the bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is really something else. So, skeleton 1... that's a hit. That's a 16. And we're going in with his D6 rusty weapon. He kills one. Man, I like how this turned around. Summon skeletons. Good spell. Again, just to plug the class, this is the Necromancer class. Masters of Death and Undeath by James and Jody Mishler. Good class. Very cool. And finally, this skeleton is going to attack that guy from behind. Let's see what happens. That's a 12. I believe they need a 13 to hit, so no, that's not going to hit anything. And it goes back to initiative. Now, I know I said these guys fight to the death, but for story's sake, it would be very interesting if we were able to get one, a lot like we did the kobolds. So, does this guy fall out of his berserk fury to see that he's completely outmatched? I mean, look at this mess. That is like so many skeletons. There's so many skeletons. So does he break? Yes. Not only does... Wow. That's so convenient. I like that. That's the 6. That's the yes and. So let's see. So he breaks, or maybe that just gives an opportunity for for that to happen. I'm going to say he breaks. It makes a lot more sense if he sees 3 of his buddies. He came in here expecting to surprise us and overpower us. He did not expect to be assaulted on all sides by skeletons. So he throws down his weapon and surrenders to us. Veronique grins smugly at the hooded figure in front of the party. "Who do you serve?" she says, with confidence, gesturing with a nod over to Lorque. "He's not a patient man, and neither are they," she says, gesturing to the skeletons holding him hostage. So what I'm going to do now is, I said these guys were a cult before, and I kind of wanted to base them off of Rakdos, but Table Fables 2 has this nice little chart, or these tables, on page 99 for generating a cult name. And from there, we can figure out what sort of guys these are. So we've got a 5. The followers of the Enlightened Void. Followers of the Enlightened Void. And this guy's like from some kind of death cult. These guys, I've just rolled a 6 on the alignment roll. These guys are totally evil. It says these guys worship a 15 to 16. They worship a person. That's very interesting. So I don't have to roll on the... I guess I could roll on the uniforms. It doesn't necessarily have to look like the miniature there. So it says that all members have matching tattoos. That's good. We'll be able to kind of identify them by that. In fact, there is a tattoo generator in the other Table Fables book. So let's see how big of a cult we're dealing with. We have a number of followers table. That's D10 times 1,000 followers. They have 9,000 followers. Hopefully they're not all in this city. That would be kind of difficult to deal with. Well, another question we have for this guy before we inevitably just stab him to death. I would like to know what their relation is to Evidkia. I want to know why they've decided to serve her. So we're going to go to the event, action, and subject, and we're going to see what this is. So we rolled a 21, so that's release, and a 55. That's release suffering. The children of the Enlightened Void. They serve her because doing so would cause pain. And this lady sounds worse by the minute. We definitely have to do something about her. I'm not really sure what else to ask him. I mean, these guys are clearly insane. To be honest, I think we should just kill him and get it over with. The less of these guys that exist, the better. We need to find some place to take Galabrade. This poor guy just takes hit after hit. Finding some ammunition for our ranged weapons would be nice too. Thanks, Guy, for carrying weapons, but no ammunition for them. So let's be done with this guy, and maybe our friend, maybe our merchant friend will know something. I'm really glad that we brought him along. I'm not sure how long he's going to tag along with us, but yeah, very useful. Well, goodbye, evil cultist. It was not nice knowing you at all. Have fun spreading misery and wherever you go when you die. I gotta say, I am shocked that Evidkia wants us dead so bad. I didn't think we'd find an evil death cult. But she's sounding worse and worse the more I hear about her. Thank you so much for watching. Poor Calibrate keeps taking hits, and I wanted to talk about a couple of things very shortly before I end. I really, really want to find a more streamlined way to be making decisions. I'm a real big fan of the oracles here. That's really cool. It's a lot easier to use than the fate chart. That's what it's called. The fate chart is really, really great because it has a lot more options, but the oracles seem to make things move a little faster. Finding a more reliable means of interpretation would be nice. Table Fables has served really well so far, as far as mapping and things like that. But man, these little 5-foot hallways. Maybe I should interpret them normally, but then in combat I use them like 10-foot squares, or maybe I should change the whole thing over to 5-foot squares. It's hard to adjudicate. Maybe the Dungeon Master's Guide would prove a little better at doing so because it's made for old school and would use 10-foot squares. Yeah, maybe next time we'll try using the AD&D Dungeon Master's Guide for that. So, yeah, that's what we'll try next time. Again, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Oh, before we go, just for fun. Nope. It hasn't really, the deck thing hasn't really worked out. We'll figure it out. I'm getting a feel of the kinds of stuff that I like during the game and the kinds of stuff that's proving not so effectual. But yeah, I look forward to trying new things.